When you have a task that you perform on a repetitive basis and it's quite time consuming to perform it manually, you may consider recording a macro, and then you just run the macro whenever you want that series of actions to be performed. A macro that I'd like to create is one for a next page section break. There is no shortcut key for a next page section break, and yet it's something I do on a regular basis, so I'm going to record a macro. To record a macro, you can either hit the Record Macro button on the Developers tab, or down on your status bar you should have a Record Macro button. If you don't have a Record Macro button on your status bar, you may wish to right-click a blank part of your status bar and turn on the macro recording option. By ticking this option, you'll acquire this button. So I'm going to click this button and then I'll give the macro a name. The macro name is not allowed spaces, so one word, I'm going to call it Next Page Section Break. I would like this macro to be stored in the normal template, and that way it'll be available to all files, and I'll be able to run this macro from any file. I can also give it a description, designed by Kathy Barker. I'd also like to assign a shortcut key to this macro, so I'm going to click the keyboard button. I'd like to assign the shortcut key combination Ctrl-Alt-B for break, so I'll press Ctrl-Alt-B. Ctrl-Alt-B is currently unassigned, which is great, so I'll hit the Assign button and assign it to my macro. And here it is here. And I'll click Close. What I notice now is my mouse appears like a little tape cassette, and everything I do now is going to be recorded. So I simply want to record going to the Insert tab, well actually the Page Layout tab in the ribbon, going to the Breaks button and choosing Next Page. And that's inserted in Next Page Section Break, and that's all I want the macro to do. So to stop recording, I could go back to the Developers tab and click the Stop Recording button, but notice on your status bar that the Record Macro button now looks like a blue square, which is also designed for stop recording. So I'll stop recording this macro. If I wish to run the macro, I can see at the moment in the bottom left of my screen I've got section 2. If I was to run the macro, I'll end up with section 3. Now one way to run the macro is to go to the Developers tab in the ribbon and hit the Macros button. Here I can see my macro, and I can click the button Run. And now I've got section 3. I've just inserted a next page section break. Alternatively, if I want to press the key combination Ctrl-Alt-B, that will also run my macro, and now I have section 4. If I'd now like to add my button to my Quick Access toolbar so that I not only can run it using a shortcut key combination, but also because I've got a little button on my Quick Access toolbar, I'll hit the Customize Quick Access toolbar button and I'll choose More Commands. What I have here on the left hand side are the popular commands in Word, and what I have on the right hand side are the buttons that I currently have on my Quick Access toolbar. If I hit the drop down and change popular commands to macros, I can see my macro. If I click on my macro, I can then add that to my Quick Access toolbar. I could then hit the Modify button and I could give the macro a shorter name instead of all of this guff. So I call it Next Page Break. And I can choose a picture to go on my macro. So I might choose that'll do. And I'll click OK. And there's my little picture. If I then click OK, I'm on section 4 according to the bottom left of my status bar, but I now have a new button on my Quick Access toolbar called NP Break, Next Page Break, and when I click that, I get a new section, section 5.